Hello everyone. This game is one of many in Fischer's path to conquer the chess Olympus. It was played in 1971, but 2 weeks before this game was played, Fischer actually played his quarterfinal match against Mark Taimanov. And Fischer annihilated Taimanov with a result of 6-0. And Taimanov, some years later, even wrote a book called How I Became Fischer's Victim. But this is a game from the match Fischer Larsen. This is the first game of the match, and it's my favorite game of this match. So let's see this game. Bobby Fischer is white and Bent Larsen is black. So we have e4, e6, d4, d5, the French defense, knight to c3, bishop to b4, e5, knight to e7, a3, bishop captures on c3, b captures on c3, and c5. And here Fischer goes for a very interesting line, a4. We have knight b to c6, knight to f3, bishop to d7, bishop to d3, queen to c7, Fischer castles, and we have c4. Larsen wants to kick this bishop out of this strong diagonal. So we have bishop to e2 and now f6. Larsen is trying to break Fischer's strong pawn central chain. So Fischer plays rook to e1 and now knight to g6, threatening that e5 pawn. And here Fischer sacrifices this pawn and plays bishop to a3. Fischer doesn't want to allow Larsen to castle kingside, and well, he shouldn't really castle queenside since this line is open for the rook. So we have f captures on e5, d captures on e5, knight c captures on d5, knight captures on d5, and knight captures on d5. And here Fischer plays queen to d4, just a very strong centralizing move, well, attacking the knight, also threatening some ideas like bishop to h5 check. So Larsen plays knight back to g6, and Fischer pins it, bishop to h5. So we have king to f7 by Larsen, and now f4, a very active move by Fischer. We have rook h to e8, and Fischer pushes f5. And now, well, this pawn has to be captured since black will lose a knight. So we have e captures on f5, and queen captures on d5 with check. Larsen plays king to f6, and we have bishop to f3. Kind of going for this b7 pawn, so Larsen plays knight to e5. And, well, if Fischer would capture on b7 now, Larsen would capture the bishop with the knight, and after the queen recaptures it, play bishop to c6, and this would be okay for black. So instead Fischer plays queen back to d4, again to the nice centralizing square and pinning the knight. So we have king to g6, unpinning, and now Fischer plays a very nice move. He plays rook captures on e5, simply removing the defender of this bishop on d7, and well, the rook can't really capture since Fischer would play bishop to d6, and this would, well, lose a rook. So after rook to e5, Larsen played queen captures on e5, and Fischer captured the bishop on d7. And we have rook 8 to d8 by Larsen. And, well, Fischer does have two bishops for a rook, but Larsen's rooks are extremely active, and Fischer does have to play this very precisely. So Fischer plays queen to b7, capturing that pawn. We have queen to e3 check, king to f1, not king to h1. This would allow queen to e1. We have rook to d2, and this is a very... this is the critical position of the game, and it's beautiful how Fischer handles it, because Larsen is threatening checkmate on f2. So Fischer starts with queen to c6 check. Larsen defends this with rook to e6, also now attacking Fischer's queen. And now Fischer plays bishop to c5, attacking Larsen's queen. This allows Larsen a tactic which he plays, but you'll see how it turns out. Larsen plays rook to f2 check. Fischer plays king to g1, and now rook captures on g2 with a double check from the rook and the queen. So Fischer has to capture, king captures on g2, and now queen to d2. And with this queen to d2 check, Fischer has to move his king, and now, well, Fischer isn't attacking Larsen's queen anymore. So we have king to h1, and now Larsen wins the queen. Rook captures on c6, and bishop captures on c6. And this is a very interesting position. A lot of people have put this position up to some very strong engines, and those very strong engines actually say that black can play this to a draw. But I don't know, if you're Larsen in this position, you know that you're playing Bobby Fischer, who just annihilated Mark Taimanov with a result of 6-0. And Fischer just sacrificed his queen and is on the verge of winning a brilliancy in the first game of the match. And the clock is ticking, so I don't really think that anything an engine has to say in this position is in any way relevant. So Larsen plays queen captures on c3, attacking that rook on a1, and Fischer moves it with a tempo, rook to g1 check. So we have king to f6, and now Fischer captures on a7. And Fischer has created a very strong passed pawn here, this a4 pawn. So we have g5 by Larsen, bishop to b6, preparing to push the pawn. Queen captures on c2, and now Larsen has also created a very strong passed pawn here. So we have a5 by Fischer, queen to b2 by Larsen. Fischer plays bishop to d8 check, king to e6, and now pushes a6. We have queen to a3, attacking the pawn. Bishop to b7, protecting the pawn, and now queen to c5, protecting that a7 square. And Fischer plays rook to b1, preparing bishop to b6, and this is, well, undefendable. Larsen tries c3, and bishop plays bishop to b6, and in this position Larsen resigned. It's impossible to play something like c2, because rook to e1 check wins immediately, and I will just show a line what would happen if Larsen decided to continue playing this. For example, c2, like I said, c2 loses immediately, but for example queen to e5, you'd have a7, c2, rook to g1, queen to c3, preparing to push. White would get a queen, and after c1 queen, a rook captures on c1, queen captures on c1, you'd get bishop to g1, and well, black is without a move. Fischer is up 2 bishops, and this is completely winning. So yeah, an incredible start to this match by Fischer, and I will let you know that Fischer actually won this match with a result of 6-0 as well. And he continued to the finals of the candidates to face Tigran Petrosian, and well, one could say that he also crushed Tigran Petrosian. The result was 6.5 to 2.5, and well, Fischer only lost one game. It was the second game in the match against Petrosian, and then he drew 3 games and won 4 games in a row. So if you think about it, Fischer actually played 3 of the strongest players in the world, and he annihilated 2 of them with a result of 6-0, and then he crushed a former world champion Tigran Petrosian with a result of 6.5 to 2.5. So something like that happening today, I mean, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't think this could happen today. I mean, no one is this strong today. So yeah, that's the game. I do hope you enjoyed it, and well, yeah, I do hope you know that after Fischer defeated Petrosian, he was the rightful challenger to the crown and was ready to challenge Spassky in their Reykjavik match in 1972. So yeah, that's it. I would like to thank everyone who contributed to my channel in any way whatsoever, and as usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon.